All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you right there, just like me right here. All right, Turkish Delight. Been promoting this a lot because it's really good. This is a compilation album of some of today's finest melodic rock people, including Jeff Scott Soto, Ronnie Platt, Jerome Mazza, Steve Overland. This is top notch. Go listen to it and go buy a copy of it, courtesy of our friends over at Escape Music. You can see the vinyl edition is behind me, and those records are spectacular. Even if you don't play them, you can look at them. They look amazing. So great material all the way through from start to finish. Speaking of great material, apparently there's some unreleased Van Halen material out there, and Sammy Hagar has been talking about it. In fact, not too long after Ed passed away, Wolfgang was saying that there were all of these tapes and my dad just kind of noodling on guitar, not sure if anyone's going to want to hear that. Oh man, this entire thing is incredibly dysfunctional, and I believe Van Halen's legacy is being tarnished by all this. I mean, you've got this amazing estate of music and great history. I mean, books I know have been written, but more books could be written. A documentary could be made, even, like Motley Crue had The Dirt. Van Halen could have their own tell-all movie, and I think it would be very interesting. I have this theory, though, as to why there's so much confusion and dysfunction, and I think it has to do with people not liking Eddie Van Halen for one reason or another. I mean, Sammy literally threw the book at Ed back in those days when things weren't going well. And he told stuff that maybe he shouldn't have done, but he was done with the band, and he was pretty angry, and there was a lot of back and forth. And it just made things really difficult, to have any kind of relationship with anybody at that point. But before Ed passed away, it appears that Sammy got on good terms with Ed. And it's been weird because when you ask David Lee Roth about this, he says stuff like, hey, I'm hoping that they'll do a tribute for me at some point. He's walking. And look, that could be Dave just being Dave, trying to be funny. But since Ed's passing, Roth has said that Ed was culturally illiterate. And I'm not sure why you would say that after the guy's gone. I just don't understand it. And then add Wolfgang Van Halen to the mix. Sorry, Wolfie, I think you're really talented, but you're piggybacking off of your dad's legacy, whether you think you're not, right? Whether you think you're not, or, you think that because I'm doing my own music, and I'm not going to play any Van Halen music, which he broke that rule during the Taylor Hawkins tribute. And then he told everybody, now I feel like I've got some closure on this. But the rest of us are like, hey, when are we going to actually get a tribute to Ed? The Taylor Hawkins thing, most Van Halen fans were not dyed-in-the-wool Foo Fighters fans. See, it's a generational thing, because I don't understand. Again, I've said this several times. I've listened to the Foo Fighters. People say, do you even know what they sing? And I'm like, not really. I know some of the songs just through osmosis, but I'm not a big Foo Fighters guy. And just like everybody wants me to like Nirvana, I'm like, sorry, I don't like it. Well, what can I tell you? It's just not. Now, if you like it and it makes you happy, great. Foo Fighters, Nirvana, more power to you. Dave Grohl all the way, right? But what's interesting is, for fans of Van Halen, this is all just not what we expected after the fact. We thought, hey, these guys will have to come together. I mean, Sammy Hagar went on tour with David Lee Roth, the Sam and Dave tour, the ill-fated Sam and Dave tour that's still talked about, classic rock websites when they're having a slow day. They'll remember, that just crazy marketing idea. And, apparently Sammy knocking on Dave's door. Hey, we can do an encore together. And Roth wanted no part of it. Roth seems really difficult to work with. Let's just be honest. And he's out there saying this stuff about Ed, and he's never acknowledged Ed's passing in the same way that like Sammy and other people have acknowledged it. And it's right there. You can go listen to it. He released a song afterwards, and it was kind of nostalgic looking back at Van Halen. And everybody said it was a tribute to Eddie Van Halen, and it wasn't. It was just looking back at the band's history. The timing of it made it kind of look like it was a tribute to Ed. So it's really sad how the branding, the marketing, everything is out the window here. Nobody wants to take control of this. Alex is MIA. He's another one. He won't talk to Sammy Hagar after. This is just bizarre. Okay, you hold a grudge, get over the grudge, and see if you guys can do something for the fans and for Ed's legacy. Ed's death in and of itself was bizarre because it was so out of the blue, because these people keep everything really close to the vest. People knew that Ed was sick, but nobody knew he was close to dying. And honestly, the whole thing is just really sad and dysfunctional. Sammy has recently said that this is in Wolfie's hands now. Wolfie is Van Halen. In other words, Sam's like, look, I've tried to do everything. If I can't get through to Alex, maybe Wolfie can. Wolfie's like, hey, I've got closure. I played some songs, even though I told the world I wasn't going to play any songs. I played songs, and it's cool. Now, I know he said he wouldn't play songs with his own band, which, again, piggybacks off of Van Halen, both in name and in, branding and marketing. So he's still, even though he's completely different, he doesn't sound anything like Van Halen, which I think is probably the right strategy here. Although I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have been okay if he created music that sounded like Van Halen, especially if it's, Wolfie's Van Halen basically is a mammoth, Wolfgang Van Halen. It's just a weird. I mean, I would have just gone with something completely different, but that's his tribute to his days in Van Halen. But he takes some of that identity and makes it his own. So that's where I think things get a little bit weird. That not weird, but it's you're saying no, I don't want to be a part of this, but yet by extension, the name of the band is an extension. It's part of that. And so you might have people going to these concerts thinking, okay, maybe he'll do an encore with You Really Got Me or something. He'll just play Eruption out of the blue. And everybody has said, if he moved over to guitar, and, Sammy said it's almost like really a Van Halen, more than just a tribute, but actually Van Halen, kind of like when the Eagles had Deacon Fry up there instead of nobody representing Glenn Fry, which is what they have now. And I don't know how it's still the Eagles. Why? Because they've got Vince Gill. I don't know. That's another video. But all of this is just really bad for the Van Halen legacy, for the brand, and it's random dysfunction. It doesn't have to be this way. It's almost like somebody needs to get everybody in a room and say, okay, guys, let's just do this because the fans want it, because Ed deserves it. Okay. Taylor Hawkins deserves it, right? Who I think OD'd, right? I think he OD'd. I don't know. I mean, the news media just stopped, on that. Ed died from a very aggressive cancer. Now, you may say, okay, well, his lifestyle contributed to that problem. Okay, but he didn't die of an overdose. And I think people have to recognize that, look, people make mistakes, and then there are consequences for those mistakes. And in the case of Ed, it was a really sad ending. And I think what they ought to do is do a tribute concert, and all of these dysfunctional people don't have to be a part of it. That's what I say. If they want to be a part of it, great. But if they're like, oh no, it's too late now after the fact, and I don't want to perform Van Halen songs, whoever it is, if it's David Lee Roth who doesn't want to be a part of it, that's fine. That's fine. Look, Roth is also out there releasing his own mediocre versions of Van Halen songs. I mean, that's not going to help the Van Halen brand, because on the internet now, you've got those competing versions, like bands, and I'm not going to put any names on this, but bands who have taken the name and put their own version of a song that's been out there since like 1978, but they do their version of it and they upload it to, the various platforms, and people not really paying attention will click on that song and listen to it and go, this sounds different than the original. But they might listen to it. They might listen to it halfway through. And I don't know. I find that to be a little bit sneaky and underhanded. And Roth is kind of doing that in a way. I mean, his versions, on a scale from 1 to 10, his versions are probably a 5 or a 6. Vocally, it's not the same thing. He sounds good compared to what he sounds like when he sings in Vegas. But it's, if I'm going to go listen to You Really Got Me, or whatever song, that song is in my brain for some reason, but Panama or whatever, I'm the David Lee Roth recent version of Panama is a little creepy, right? I'd rather listen to the original, which was only somewhat creepy, but featured the band full strength, hitting on all cylinders in their glory days. Why wouldn't you want to hear that? Hence, why wouldn't you want some closure on this and to get people together? So the legacy itself, folks, is really what I'm talking about in this video, is that all of these people who can't get along and can't get their crap together are making this really difficult when it doesn't have to be. Why tarnish a legacy? Why not lift it up and give it a proper ending? But I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. So yeah, I've rambled enough on this video. So here's Turkish Delight. You got to check this out. If you're a melodic rock aficionado, you got to get this. I know a lot of people just have given up on the new material. Like, nope, I don't care. Well, I don't know. Just do it out of pity for the people who are still trying to make great music, because it's out there. I have found a boatload of great music this year, and I'm happy about it. I'm glad. My ears are happy, and I'm not listening to the same old stuff day after day. If I want to do that, I can turn on any classic-oriented radio format and hear the same songs just pounded into the ground day after day. Are those songs important? Absolutely. Are they great songs? Most of the time. But music was supposed to progress. It was supposed to keep going after 1992, right? It was supposed to, but here we are, like 30 years later, and they're still playing those super old songs on the radio. I don't know what's going to happen. It's like music is in a holding pattern. I'm going to have to do a video, like they're stacking airplanes over the airport, and that's just not going to change. It's just going to keep being the old music, and that's all there is. All right, I'm done. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications on new videos, Patreon for $1 a month. What else can I tell you? Oh, Odyssey, Check me out over on Odyssey. I'm also on Rumble. Odyssey, you can sign up for memberships over there, which is a cool function. And that's it. Talk to you soon.